Is this really lining up? I mean,
Yes.
if this is a factor,
Yes,
what's
it
supposed to be the
is.
remainder?
Go with it.
What's the remainder?
0.
0 is the remainder if this is really a factor. Look at these crazy numbers, 39.
Negative 2 and
Wait a minute,
negative
hold on.
35.
Negative 39 plus 4 is negative?
35.
Oh, I can see it happening. Anybody else?
Negative 30.
Yeah.
Drop down. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's so nice when it works out. Math. It's a beautiful subject. What times x is negative 35x?
Negative 35.
Negative 35 times x is negative 35x. Negative 35 times negative 2 is plus 70. Something minus itself in that is 0. Perfect.
Yay.
If you don't get a 0 remainder, you did something wrong, because you should. Okay? Beautiful. So therefore, this trinomial factors into x minus 2 times
Plus 7.
all that right there. And now we hope that Mr. Wade hand crafted it, which he will. And he did. And that is equal to what multiplies to be negative 35 and has to be 2.
Plus
X
7
plus
minus
7
5.
and minus 5.
Plus 7 minus 5, so we get 3 answers. Equal to 0. X equals
Negative
2, negative 7,
7. 5.
we already knew 2, and positive 5. And they're all in the puzzle. Actually, we didn't go too far to find out, did we? Okay, there it is, right there. Kudos to Rene Descartes. Very clever.
Okay, let's,
Very clever, that Frenchman.
there's only 8 minutes.
All right, we got this, because the last part, you just sail right through.
Easy.
Oh, yeah. Well, once you get it, now it's kind of abstract, so basically you get it or you don't get it in the last section. There's not much partial credit. But hopefully as many of you as possible can get it by test time, because it's kind of abstract, but it's just the same old stuff.
Not on this.
Okay, now, what we have is this. We have y equals x squared plus 2x. It's actually f of x, but it's the same thing, right? Okay, and g is the inverse of f. Oh, so if g is the inverse, then g must be x equals y squared plus 2y, right? Okay, let's get y by itself, see if we can find g here. Oops. Can't do that until college. Okay, try to factor out the y. Still don't have y by itself. Okay, try to move some stuff around. Still don't have y by itself. Okay. All right, so I can't find g. That's okay. We got ways around it. Okay, first item of business. Take the -1, that number, and plug it into the equation that you don't even know.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, all right. Wait a minute, yes we can. If you remember the trick in class, if you are finding f of -1, that means plug in -1 for what? For the x's. If g is
Plug it
the
in for the
opposite
y.
or inverse, the opposite would be putting in -1 for y. That's the trick. That's how to find g of something that you don't even know. So take -1, don't put it in for the x's, put it in for the y. So -1 equals x squared plus 2x. That's how to correct this code. Okay? Yeah, what's our first priority in solving polynomials? Get it equal to 0. Very good. Okay, and crafted. Oh, yes, indeed. That's plus 1 plus 1, isn't it? Which means you don't get 2 answers. Just get 1 answer. Just list it once. -1. Now, it is x equals, but shh, it's a secret. Okay? We kind of cheated. Stuck in the back door here. But actually, it's g of -1 that we just lost. Okay? It was -1. Total coincidence. That's the first time we've ever gotten the same number over again. You won't get that on the test. Okay? So don't expect the same number on the test.
What's the box?
Okay? Oh, I just made them all big in this section. So put -1 in that gigantically long
Very
box.
misleading.
Just -1?
Just -1, that's it. Just put that.
So don't put the g in -1.
You can. It looks nice, but you can just put that. And I'll tell you what, yeah, go ahead and put the whole thing. That's nice. Because then you can look back and remind yourself what happens. Okay, so that is how you do 16, the sneaky way. All right. Number 17, find f of g of x. Oh gosh. Okay, now to find f of g of x, what did you do in middle school when they said find f of blank?
Plug it in
Plug
for
it
the
in.
back.
Okay, but it wasn't as abstract, but it was the same thing, right? You took g of x and you just placed it in there. Right there. So wouldn't that be g of x something quantity squared plus
2g of x.
2g of x? You can get points on the test, 5 points, for just using this substitution property for middle school. That's it. I can get away 3 points.
That's the answer?
Yeah, done.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Finish. Okay, that's all you have to do. So, literally, 5 points right there, okay, take it. Okay, but should I have g of x all through my answer?
Yes, it says.
Wait,
In terms of
in
g.
terms of g of x, that's your reassurance, that's your pat on the back. It's like, yes, leave it in the answer, that's good. Okay, all right, number 18. What is f of g of x equivalent to?
X.
Well, yeah, if f and g are inverses, we did that as a buzzword one day. If you have your lucky number, and you do something to it, and then just do the opposite to it, you get right back to your lucky number again, okay? Take your lucky number, add 1,000, subtract 1,000, okay? Same thing. That is rule number 1 that we just did the other day on our last tidbits. Rule number 1, okay? And get x. Okay? And now it's time for the breakthrough right here. If A equals B and B equals C,
Then A equals C.
then A equals C by the transitive property, right? If these are both f of g of x, then mathematically they're the same. They look different, but the same. So in number 19, the first thing I would do is write my master equation. I would set these two things equal to each other. That's your breakthrough. Breakthrough. Okay. So we slap it next. I mean, quietly. Place your guess. Breakthrough. Once you get that, you crack the code. Everything else is just taking a derivative. I'm trying to get to g prime. I'm trying to take the derivative of something I don't even know. But right now I'm stuck in regular world. How do I get to derivative? Derivative. Hop on the bus. Go. And some. All right. We're going to Disneyland, Mr. Wade. Buy a plane ticket. Let's go. We stop you. Hey, we're in communist Russia. You can't do anything at all. I used to live there. Okay. Anyways, so it's pretty bad. So take the 2 down in the front. Okay. I want to get the derivative roll this way. Take the derivative.
G prime of x.
First power, but the chain rule is g prime of x.
Plus.
Everybody see how the base stayed the same when you did the derivative, right? Okay. The derivative of 2g of x, the 2 carries, and the derivative of g is g prime of x, and the derivative of x is 1. And we see a little piece of rule number 2, we get the equals 1 at the end. Okay. All right. You've done the pre-calculus. Now you just have to do a little bit of algebra 1, pre-algebra. Gee, Mr. Wood, I have 2 g primes floating around, but I just want 1. Factor.
And then divide it with 1 by 1.
Can you factor out of 2 also?
Now that's a good question. Here's what I would do. For now, I would just factor the g prime of x. This is a rare case where you don't take out the GCF, because we always do, don't we? I want to just isolate the g prime, so you don't have to take out the g. And then, to get g prime by itself,
Divide.
could I divide both sides by all that razzmatazz, good memory? And you can divide it down here. And you can factor out the 2 in your final answer with 2 answers. Okay? And that is taking the derivative of something that we can't even find. Fascinating. Okay?
Plug in -1. Go.
All right. Last one, g prime of -1. Could I just plug it in for x?
Yes.
There's anyone g of -1 was.
We do.
We already found it. I'm going to give it to you on the test. We already found it there.
Go, go, go. We have 7 seconds.
Okay, plug in -1.
3, 2.
What's -2 plus 2?
1. 0 does not exist.
1 0 does not exist. At the buzzer, Mr. Wayne Fenway, and he scores, wins the
In
game.
your dream.
Or whatever that is. Okay, catchphrase. Anyways,
Can I leave the camera in here?
sure. Oh, by the way, big hint on the test. Either get does not exist or plus or minus the same number if you've done that problem right. One of the 2 cases. Plus or minus the same number, whatever that is, or
Is that when it's based on squared quantities?
Guess what?